I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and today on Homebrew Review, we are looking at Gold Guardian Gun Girl from Neo Dolphino Productions, although they are the US distributor as opposed to the author or publisher. More on that in a second. As the back cover says, "Get that gold, girl." A mysterious small town mine is beset by some evil creatures. Elena Stone and her trusty gun ride have been enlisted to help get it back and line her pockets, speed through the mine, and kill the bad guys within to get the gold back. Inside, you can see we have a North American style NES cartridge in translucent red with a label that says Neo Dolphino and Good Tune. Good Tune, they would be the author, and they graciously allowed Neo Dolphino to localize it for a North American release, and it is a limited print run, although possibly, just like the last game from Neo Dolphino, they could manufacture a second batch if demand is high. This actually shipped out really quickly. I guess they were ready to go when they announced it, because I got this cartridge less than a week after I placed my order, or maybe it was 10 days at the most, but I'm not used to getting homebrew games in the mail that fast. But just like my previous Neo Dolphino, it came in this oversized clamshell NES case, and Reluctant Hero would know the name of the website that also sells these as replacements if you have loose NES cartridges and you want a box to display them in, because he helped me order a replacement one when the one he sent me got damaged. So they also have a card in here, a what we used to call fly-in card or blow-away card. This one says you can order RC Squared Rally. I assume that's a takeoff on RC Pro-Am. I guess they'll release a print run if they get enough cards back in the mail saying how much demand they have. It also comes with this cheat sheet telling you all the different control styles that are available for you to switch to in the game. And this too is an auto-firing game, so all you have to worry about is moving and aiming your reticle. The playstyle that I chose that I find the easiest to use is the A and B buttons rotate the gun sight to the left and to the right, or if you prefer, clockwise and counterclockwise. But intuitively, it just took over after a while that I would move my Gold Guardian gunship and worry about aiming correctly with the A and B buttons, and then get myself in the right line of trajectory to fire at the enemies on the screen with the A and B. It just sort of takes over and becomes natural after a while, which is a sign of good game design if you ask me. If it's easy to pick up, then you know that you've done your job well. Now, out of curiosity, one of the first things I tried doing was dumping this cartridge because I was already using it in an analog NT Mini Noir version 2 to begin with, and I have it jailbroken, so why not see if it can dump this cart? And as it turns out, yes it can, because it's a pretty conventional mapper inside, nothing that the Copy NES function has never seen before. Although I think I might have dumped it slightly incorrectly, because when I played it, it was displaying information on the screen between levels that when I played the cartridge, it was not displaying, such as the current background music to be played in the level. So, not a perfect dump perhaps, but a playable one, because it functions the same as the regular game. All of the enemies seem to be the same. As you can see, when you hit them, they drop various items such as gold or stat boosts like HP up and fuel up. Your fuel is constantly depleting as you move around, which I guess is either the cost of piloting a gunship or the fact that it's auto-firing a lot of the time, so you're burning a lot of energy either way or both ways. And the only way to ensure that you don't run out of fuel is to get to the exit at the end of the level where there's a big fuel canister waiting for you to refill your Gold Guardian gunship. I'm not sure if the gold ever plays a factor other than your high score in the game. I don't know if you actually get an item shop at some point to buy improvements to your gunship with, That would be a novel addition to the game, but I also think it would be an unnecessary one because it's a simple premise that pretty much works the way it is. It's a very blaster master feeling game where you enter an area, and in that area you're aiming at everything on the screen and taking it out and picking up the items that you get from those enemies. Obviously, the side-scrolling platforming areas that you transition from one overworld area to the next are not present as they would be in Blaster Master, but it has a very similar feel in just the shooting and item collecting. Maybe the world map could look a little more sophisticated. The playfield is rather large and empty, but on the other hand, it gives you a lot of space to aim at these enemies and make sure that you hit them. A word of caution that if you're backing up to get out of the way of an enemy and you leave a screen, the items that they dropped disappear. They are not memory resident, so collect all of the items before you leave a screen. Otherwise, when you go back, they're gone. You gotta clear the screen and pick up all the items and then leave. Leave items behind at your own peril. Gold Guardian Gunship Girl, or 4G if you prefer, is a fine homebrew. GoodTune did a very good job here, and I think the level of challenge is well balanced as well. It starts out with these one-eye looking monsters that are fairly easy to kill. Then you've got some little humanoid figures that take a lot longer to shoot and destroy. Then you've got some bats that actually aren't the hardest to destroy, but they start firing back at you, and you have to avoid their fire while you're firing at them. So, sorry, I took some damage there because I was too busy trying to explain what was going on the screen. But yes, you get different progressions of enemies that are harder to kill or harder to avoid return fire from the further you go into these mines. So it ramps up the difficulty in a way that I find approachable. It doesn't overwhelm you with everything all at once. And some games where you have a dungeon that you have to make your way through can easily do that. For example, The Binding of Isaac is not very merciful in its random monster generation and its random map layout. You can walk into a room and immediately be overwhelmed by a swarm of poop monsters and flies, and you're not prepared to deal with it, and it's game over and back to the beginning for you. Gold Guardian Gun Girl thankfully doesn't do that. Cost is something that should be briefly discussed here for a game of this quality, which is complete in-box in a translucent shell, full printed manual, and pack-in cards and all the trimmings. This is not a cheap game. You're going to spend at least $60 plus shipping, but that's where you have to consider the value proposition. Do you want a high-quality original homebrew game complete in a physical edition, or do you want somebody's cheap sprite swap of an existing game that may have some new music, may have some new levels, but essentially just reworks an already existing game, and you only pay $30 for it? That's up to you. I think if you want something good, pay what it's worth. And Neo Dolphino has made something good, and GoodTune has made something good. Specifically, give GoodTune the credit for the game and Neo Dolphino the credit for the localized North American physical edition. And I realize that spending $60 on a homebrew game isn't for everybody. It isn't always for me, for that matter. But Gold Guardian Gun Girl was from a label that I already knew and somewhat trusted from previous experience, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt on this brand new physical game for NES, and I was well rewarded. I feel this was a homebrew that was worth my time, and if you like Blaster Master style games, I think you would enjoy this one as well. I'm Mr. MegaManFan, taking a look at Gold Guardian Gun Girl, and if they're not completely sold out of it yet, get yourself a copy. If not, sign up for an email notification when they make another batch, if they make another batch. Or maybe in the future, There might be a digital only release. I wouldn't count on it, but I wouldn't rule it out either. There may be other methods. For now, this is Mr. MegaManFan saying so long and see you next time in another homebrew review.